Hey guys, it's Haywood from the town, and let's get straight into this video. Super Mario Galaxy has officially kicked off the start of the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Back in 2022, Nintendo went ahead and acquired its own animation studio and rebranded Dynamo Pictures into Nintendo Pictures. This was a few months prior to the release of the first Super Mario Bros. Movie, which was animated by Illumination, not Nintendo's new movie subdivision. The same will be true with Super Mario Galaxy, but the writing on the wall is clear here. Nintendo wants to start producing films in-house for the games that they already own, which would be in line for a company like Nintendo since they're originally a stationary games company who identified that video games are an emerging technological frontier and strategically adopted them to maintain a competitive edge in the gaming space. This would be no different in the film world, where instead of outsourcing and giving movie rights to someone like with Detective Pikachu, or partnering with them like Illumination, they can control the entire IP's rights, which is a smarter idea as opposed to what Marvel was forced to do because they were going bankrupt in the early 2000s. Marvel was forced to sell off Spider-Man and the X-Men's film rights, and after they sold back to Disney, they were in a long battle in order to reacquire the rights to Spider-Man. And I believe they still don't have the entire rights to all of the X-Men just yet. Or if they did get it, they just recently got it. So instead of having to go through that, Nintendo realized that their IPs are extremely valuable because most kids grew up playing Nintendo games the same way that kids in the 80s, 70s, and 60s grew up reading Marvel comics. That instead of giving away their already successful IP with people that will guaranteed go to the theaters to watch it, means Nintendo doesn't even have to take the risk of trusting a Sony Pictures to adapt their movies and IPs properly. They'll be the ones controlling their adaptations from the franchises that they've been controlling and created for years, which is honestly brilliant and sets up for the next Nintendo franchise that will be getting a movie, which will be The Legend of Zelda. Now, Zelda has always been Nintendo's favorite, and each game always has had a long, meticulous release because when Nintendo goes to make Zelda games, they don't make them for profit. They make them for quality. Nintendo loves pulling in the high review numbers from IGN and GameSpot and all those other places with Legend of Zelda games because Zelda games are crafted to damn near perfection, to be honest. Not a glazer. Nintendo did take a risk initially when partnering with Illumination. That's why they put Mario and Pikachu up first, to be honest. But when dealing with Zelda, Nintendo will make this Nintendo Pictures' very first movie. And picture this now. Nintendo Pictures' very first movie will be about the video game franchise that is the highest reviewed franchise in all of video game history. And after the success of the first three movies, the two Mario ones and the Pokemon one, they're ready to capitalize off the hype they built. They're in full steam ahead. The motion is motioning. Alright, now that we are able to explain the business side of the industry, now let's get into the fun stuff. The Pikmin being inside of the Mario Galaxy film confirms that Pikmin and Mario share the same world, which could insinuate that more Nintendo franchises share the same world. Now, a lot of Nintendo stories take place in different parts of the universe. You have Star Fox and Metroid in space, Kirby's in Dreamland, Link in Hyrule, and so on and so forth. Now, the fact that we've seen Pikmin in the Mario trailer of everything that we've seen, that all but confirms the fact that, one, Mario and Pikmin are in the same planet. They're not in separate parts of the universe, like how the other Nintendo franchises that we were discussing are. No, these two are on the same exact planet, which is insane. Like, no matter what, I think the Smash Bros. Movie will be like Avengers, and that will culminate, and everybody is going to have their own individual movies before. That's another video I'm going to get into another time. But the fact that they're on the same planet insinuates something even bigger. The planet that Olimar began his journey at in the first Pikmin game is not the Earth that Mario and friends are on. Or could it be the same? In the first Mario film, we see the green pipe transport Mario from his family on Earth to the Mushroom Kingdom, a distant land inhabited by different creatures like Goombas, Koopas, and Toads. Now this tells us that the green pipes can transport us to completely different planets. So a green pipe could theoretically lead us to Fox or Kirby or even the Pokemon world on a separate island. In Kirby 64, we saw that they have a planet just like Earth that seems to be frozen over, which would mean that Kirby is probably going to take place in the future from the Mario timeline, but before Pikmin. Since we know that our own Earth started has had lush green planet, then went to Ice Age, and then went back to the same lush green planet that we once knew. Pikmin's whole premise is that Captain Olimar has left on vacation and crashes on an unknown planet. This unknown planet is Earth, where Mario, Peach, and Luigi are originally from, but it has turned post-apocalyptic by the time the first Pikmin games happen. But in the first Mario Bros. Film, Earth is normal, and is just like our current Earth. But by the Kirby timeline, it has frozen over and been infested by machines. So what happened? What destroyed Mario's home and eventually led to the extinction of the planet we see inside of Kirby 64? F-Zero happened. After Mario and company left the planet, they never returned back to Earth and stayed in the Mushroom Kingdom. The world began to evolve while Mario and his friends were away, and the world found itself into racing and began investing heavily into the point where the world was destroyed by the amount of pollution from multiple people coming from all over the galaxy to Earth. The influx of extraterrestrial visitors brought foreign contaminants the Earth was not familiar with, triggering a total biosphere collapse, which forced all of the racers to move their Grand Prix central hub to another planet and vacate the Earth. This vacated Earth is the one that we see depicted inside of Kirby 64. Now that we have confirmed that Kirby, Mario, Captain Falcon, and Olimar are all in the same universe and have visited the same planet at different points in time, what about other Nintendo characters? What about the original Smash cast? What about Fox? Well, believe it or not, Fox's dad, James McCloud, is playable in F-Zero, confirming that they share a universe and they were on Earth around the same time. Now, in the Star Fox universe, Fox's father dies before the initial adventure takes place, but not too many years before then. James McCloud is only about 40 years old when he passes away, which means there's less than 100-year window between Captain Falcon and Fox, which highly insinuates that they exist and live in the same timeline and possibly have visited the same planets. Now, let's link this to the Legend of Zelda series. You guys see what I did there? Alright, you don't have to laugh. But Zelda and Mario have had a long history of crossing over. My first personal noticing of the crossover between Zelda and Mario was in the Majora's Mask level, where you run into this mask salesman and he turns around to show that he has a mask of Mario's face, which could mean a lot of things. I mean, in the Zelda timeline, Majora's Mask's timeline is the disaster timeline, which could insinuate that in the disaster and calamity that maybe Mario at some point wanted to go and help the Zelda universe or the Zelda planet, and unfortunately met his end and got turned into a mask. Who knows? I don't think the Nintendo Cinematic Universe would go that dark with it, but that seems to be what is insinuated here in Majora's Mask. Now that we've connected almost every single Nintendo franchise from the original Smash Bros. Series, I think the stage is set that Super Smash Bros. Will be the first movie to have all of these stories cross over. Each franchise will get its own movie before the major crossover event that will be Super Smash Bros. The movie. But I have a lot more to talk about with the Super Smash Bros. Movie, so much so that I want to save it for another video. And in order to stop this video from getting too far past the 10-minute mark, I'm going to save that for another video. But before I go, I would like to tie Metroid in to the Nintendo Cinematic Universe. Inside of Metroid, we often have to transport between screen to screen because Metroid was one of the first platformer games to start the Metroidvania style of platforming. And the way we do so are with these little things called air holes. These air holes are identical to the super green pipes out of Super Mario. They're just called something slightly differently, which is interesting that these two separate franchises share the same piece of technology with the same look and the same functionality. It's almost as if they're in the same universe along with everything else we're talking about. And this would make sense considering we have Star Fox, Link, Samus, or Metroid, Donkey Kong and Yoshi, because they're side pieces of the Mario franchise, no disrespect, Pokemon, F-Zero, and Kirby all tied together in one franchise now. So there you guys have it. The universe is truly set up for Nintendo to do something insane to link all of these franchises together. And the Nintendo Cinematic Universe looks like it'll be the most hyped thing to come out of movies since the Marvel Cinematic Universe did this 10 years ago. And on this channel, I'm going to be right now I'm very big on Nintendo in these next few months because of how much hype and potential I see inside of the cinematic universe. And if you are too, I would join the town, a place where elites can meet like-minded folk. But that's going to be it for this video. This is Haywood from the town, and I'm going to head back to my town now. Peace.